If there's one thing we know for sure, that is that Jon Jones does not have a problem running away from things. And with what we're seeing right now, I think it's fair to say that is still holding true. Ever since Tom Aspinall knocked out Sergei Pavlovich and got the interim heavyweight title, every single MMA fan has had the exact same question, and that is Jon Jones going to fight him? Because traditionally, when you have an interim title, that means you are next in line to fight the champion. That is what that has always meant. I mean, for Christ's sake, if you look up the definition of interim, it is until a particular thing happens. So when you are the interim champ, technically, you are the champion of that weight class until you get matched up with who was champion beforehand. Now, to the MMA community, people don't really look at it that way, but that is what it's meant to be. But in this specific instance, that's not the case at all. Because Jon Jones is still defending the title against Stipe Miocic, while Tom Aspinall is the interim champion. Which, like I said, a bit unorthodox, but that's what they're doing. Okay. But the question was still out there. Is Jon Jones gonna fight Aspinall after Stipe to unify the belts? Well, Jon has made it very clear over Twitter that he wants nothing to do with that. Nothing at all. And I gotta give him a little bit of respect here because he's being honest about why he doesn't want the fight. On all of Jon's tweets on the subject, the majority of which is him saying that Tom doesn't deserve the fight, that it doesn't do anything for his legacy, and just a lot of things like that. As far as him saying Tom doesn't deserve the fight, well, he is interim champion of your division, so he does deserve the fight. It does come across like Jon is just avoiding the fight. But at this point, he's not even hiding that. He's put out some tweets recently saying, I'm getting older now, I'm 36, I'm not going to be one of these guys who sticks around too long. So he's being honest about the fact that fighting Tom is a massive, massive risk. One that he doesn't want to take. Though, of course, Jon has not completely closed the door on the opportunity of him fighting Aspinall, as per this tweet. So let's ask ourselves here. Jon Jones is the GOAT. He is the greatest fighter of all time by far. There is no debate about that. Is he really worried about Tom Aspinall? Well, for starters, I'm not going to make any boneheaded claims saying that not a single person in history would beat Aspinall in a fight. I'm not going to go that far. But I think it is fair to say Tom would be an absolute bitch to beat for anybody. That I'm willing to say. But we're talking about the greatest fighter of all time in Jon Jones. Being a bitch to beat isn't quite enough to give you a leg up over him. We need to look back at Jon's career and see what exactly is it that he struggles with. Well, the first time we ever saw somebody give Jon Jones problems in the octagon was his first fight against Alexander Gustafsson. Now, Gustafsson, very well-rounded, good takedown defense, and a really high-level boxer. And what we saw in that fight was he was able to defend Jon's takedown attempts, and when he was able to get into boxing range, there was a clear gap in skill in that area. You see, Jon's primary boxing defense is to put his right hand on his cheek and extend his left hand completely out. And, it could be worse. This does typically prevent him from running into punches, which is how you really get hurt. But when his opponent gets past his lead hand, they're usually able to land. And now, what was the one other fight Jon really struggled in? Of course, guys like Daniel Cormier and Thiago Santos, they both had success in boxing range against Jon as well. But the fight he really, really struggled in was against Dominic Reyes. Now, since the Jon Jones fight, we've learned that Reyes has some real spotty striking defense and really struggles against power punchers. I mean, against Ryan Spann, he just walked right into his jab. But what Reyes did have was he was very strong, very athletic, really good takedown defense, and he was fast. And as we know, Jon Jones is not known for his power. And what we saw in this fight was Jon constantly looking for takedowns, while Reyes was just muscling out of each one. And he was using his speed to get into punching range where he was having a lot of success. So when you look at Alexander Gustafsson and Dominic Reyes, the things that they had in common were they were both listed as tall as Jon Jones, and they were able to match his reach. They were both strong, athletic, with good takedown defense, and both their offensive strategies against Jon was to use their speed to get into range and box. Now, of course, there are many, many variables to why these fights turned out the way they did. But if you're just looking purely at skill set of what Dominic Reyes and what Alexander Gustafsson brought to the table, those are what they had in common that led to them having success against Jon Jones. So now we look at Tom Aspinall. He's listed at 6'5", an inch taller than Jon, lightning fast with his movements and strikes. He might as well be a 260-pound welterweight the way he moves. Very, very well-rounded game. Great takedowns, great submissions, great kicks, and his primary skill, boxing, and he has one-punch knockout power. You list all these things out, and all of a sudden it becomes very clear why Jon Jones does not want this fight. If we were looking at prime Jon Jones, who he himself was extremely fast, threw a crazy wide variety of strikes, amazing spinning elbows, flying knees, I think you have a very good fight on your hands. But right now, Jon Jones at 36 years old, you cannot deny with all this size he's put on, he's a lot slower than he used to be. If he were to fight Aspinall, he would need to be super takedown heavy. And I would argue Jones would be the more skilled grappler overall, but he's going to have to seriously work to land takedowns. And if he were able to get him down, would he be able to hold him down? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing for sure. Jon would not be able to catch him in a simple guillotine like he did to Cyril Gane. That is not going to be there. And on the feet, I honestly see a huge mismatch here. Tom would constantly be moving in and out, feinting with his hands, mixing in low calf kicks, just getting ready to blitz. And all he needs to do is land a couple punches and the fight can be over. So if I'm Jon Jones in the position where he's at right now, I'm fighting Stipe and I'm gone. I'm retiring. Jon Jones won the light heavyweight championship in 2011. Think about that. He has been around for a long, long time. He's not Khabib here. He's not jumping ship after 3 title defenses. He's been around for over a decade. And if he's smart, he will stay as far away from Tom Aspinall as he physically can.